shop midway. All right, here we go. What's going on is I'm going to show you the complex around the, what should I call it, the Beast Dragon complex, the whole complex. And then I'm going to show you the blacksmith shop as it pertains to the rest. So let me start at the bottom. And clear down here is a faux cut. Whenever I say faux cut, they're standard in size. It's a standard faux cut. And then this is going to be a dead man. Here's a real big tub, 8-foot tub. Here's another 8-foot tub, and they're for washing or bathing, either one. But this is a dead man in it. It can pull the, when you pull your clotheslines tight. You got to have something to pull your clotheslines tight to. I could even kind of go out a little bit. There's a fence. There's a fence that goes along here the whole way, which means I should have probably put the whole drawing to this side so I'd have more space here. Nothing really goes beyond that. All right, when we get here, right in the middle, now there's two tubs. There's two bath tubs that I've got there. I don't know if you'd seen them or not. I got them for $10 each. And then here's the Dragon, which is where you saw that thing would go like a jet engine. This is a faux cut, and whoops, I have that wrong. There's a faux cut here. Oh, I'm making them so much smaller. See, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe you can draw something way better if you understand. One is a laundry and one is a bathhouse, but they're standard faux cuts. Then there's access through here. That's where you feed this fire. Then up a good about 4 feet higher, there's a faux cut here and a faux cut here. This is a pump house to pump water from the pond or take it by gravity. You know, you've seen that ditch with gravity. This is a mini mill for, it's got some small, like shelling corn and stuff. These two will be powered. There's a water source that comes here, and that water wheel that you've seen with the blue buckets on it, they're there. And then that water that water runs out there, and this water comes from the ditch further back. I call this the Grand Canal as a joke.
Where we've had our little blacksmith shop would be up there.
Be right here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to get bearings here.
What's that?
Trying to get bearings here.
Yeah. And that bigger building, which is like here, that's the one I call the what do you call somebody who takes care of a museum? The curator's hostel is what I call it, because that's the one where I talked about making that 3-story high poster bed, and there's a water wheel in here. Underneath there's a water wheel there, but that I'm going to call that a different complex, I think. All right, going on up. There's basically a space big enough here to be able to drive the pickup in here. And the pickup, you know, that's the way we back in around that really big walnut tree right there.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm trying to draw in front of two artists, but if you understand what I'm doing, you'll have a better idea. All right, here, this is the Dragon. This is the Beast. And there's the blacksmith shop as we have it right now. Right over here is going to go that, I call it the swinging roller crusher. that real big thing for crushing glass. It's just standing there, but when I build it, which won't take long, I'm going to bring it out and have it here. That's for crushing glass. All right. Now this part, the little blacksmith shop, right there is going to be a monstrous big hot forge. Right here, a small cupola furnace, they call it, which is like you could actually melt iron in a cupola furnace. Now you can't even really use a crucible in a cupola furnace. It's like that Diderot's book that I showed you, it's got wonderful wood, those are etchings, wonderful etchings of a small but industrial blast furnace of say 1750. Glass blowing, it'll either be over this, at this spot, or at this spot, or at this spot. Here there are the double doors for making charcoal. There's 2 chambers to that, okay? You know, I want to get this open again where we're making charcoal right at this very moment is right here, and we'll have to check on our fire in just a little bit.
The giant hammer windmill.
All right, now the hammer hut, I call it. That's what I'm going to draw in some detail, and the 4 legs to it are there and there, and it's 10 foot square. That's the hammer hut, and we'll put a roof over it in such a way that will overhang 4 feet, approximately 4 feet in every direction. So the blacksmith shop will almost be under it. I was saying we can use an awning to come out to keep the water off your shoulders.
That'd be great.
Now this other stuff is going to be generating so much heat that it's kind of another matter. And to feed that blast furnace, or cupola, it's called a cupola furnace, you feed them from the top. You dump in charcoal, and you dump in iron, and you dump in iron ore. You can actually smelt charcoal in one of them. That will be fed from above, because on top of the beast, you can walk up there right now, but it's a great risk because I need to work on it, you know. But it's meant to be able to walk on. And on top of this whole thing, which I'll draw next, is going to be a windmill. That's the plan, a really big windmill. Well, to have a windmill, you've got to have access to the sails, to trim them, to let more out. You've got to be able to get to them. And it's so far off the ground. Well, I figure that access will be this way. Right there is where, and we can spin it that way and this way until we can get to each sail, so we'll be able to have access to it. The wind that will drive that, people look at that and say, what's down in why don't you have it up on a hill? But actually there's a tremendous amount of wind that comes through that direction because of the buildings above and the buildings below. And I recently, when I was doing the videos on Switzerland, I saw it near Martigny. They've got one of those real big modern windmills right down in the bottom of the valley, because the wind coming up through that valley is almost famous. All right, that's the greater complex, and you didn't take any notes at all, which makes sense. I'm going to pause that and then show you details of this, but this has been, I'll call it what should I call this? The Beast Dragon Complex.
Or the Dragon Beast.
Dragon Beast complex.
Dragon
Makes
Beast
a little more
sounds
sense.
kinda-
Dragon Beast. It's got a laundry, it's got a bathhouse, it's got a little mill, it's got a water wheel, it's got a pump house, it's got a glass crusher, it's got the beast, it's got a blacksmith shop, it's got a big forge, it's got a cupola furnace, somewhere in here a place to blow glass. The big issue on the glass is you've got to have space to move around, because if you're blowing glass, you don't want your face right up against that real hot glass. But we'll learn more about that. But basically somewhere in this area, and you've also got to be able to swing away, and so the posts, we got to think about them. Food, wood supply for the charcoal will be here right off a pickup or in a pile. All right, I'm going to pause.